Hi there, everybody. Alibi Jones here. Good to see you all. Thanks for coming to the show. So, just a quick thing I want to say is that I've got a course coming up June 13. So, if you want to go through the training and do the things that we're doing and join our teams, that now is the time to do it. Email me and you'll be invited to the course. The email is guesswho@alibarjones.com. The course outlines there, everything's there. We start June 13 this year, so don't waste any time. Now, otherwise, I've been wanting to say this for a very, very long time. And it's something that's been needing to be said for the longest time. And it's gonna ruffle a few feathers. The scam behind all religions. And I'm going to talk primarily about Christianity, though I do mean Islam and Judaism as well. I'm going to talk about Hinduism, and I'm going to talk about Buddhism. And from that, we're going to extrapolate exactly what all of this means. Now, I'm going to start with Christianity because, God sent us down here covered in sin. And if we don't resolve it, we're going to be tortured for all eternity in hell. Right? Not that they explain to us how to do that or give us step-by-step instructions on what to do. Just, here's your problem. No help in solving it. Good luck, or you burn in hell. Because God loves you, right? And so if you can't see the little bit of dichotomy, you can't see the double speak in this yet, it's going to be clearer when we start talking about Hinduism. Now, Hinduism, you're born with karma. And karma is a great, great debt. And I'm going to use the analogy of flying into a new country. And when you get there, they take away your passport so you can't leave, and they tell you that you owe the government $100,000. Sure, right? Not honest, but you've got to go out into the city, learn the language, figure out how the place works, and then start paying off those debts, right? Not an easy task. But it becomes even more difficult when once a month, it becomes even more difficult when every year they go to renew your visa and they give you a mind wipe. That mind wipe is called reincarnation. So you have to walk out into the city of a foreign land and figure it out all over again. In some cases, you'll end up with more debt than you started with. In some cases, less. But the idea is that you pay back the government this imaginary number, this made-up number. And you 100% know it's a scam when you look at the idea of, if you don't owe the government money, but you owe other people in the country money, then you can't leave either, and you've got to get through the mind wipe reincarnation cycle. Now, again, this is a trap. Anyone, if you explained it to people this way, nobody would sign up for it. I don't know how they tricked it. It must have been the same marketing people who came up with Greenland. But there is one thing that makes it a little bit clearer, is that all of that time that you're caught in there, you're working your ass off in order to pay these giant debts. So clearly it's a scam. But at least the Hindus know that it can be resolved. It's within the whole story of karma that you can pay the debt off. Within Christianity, they don't even talk about that. It's not even really mentioned. But I'll also talk about Buddhism, where in Buddhism, you are born into suffering, right? Which is unnecessary. And the New Age movement's picked up this idea from Buddhism that you learn through suffering. And I'm just going to start with another analogy, is that I can go out and sell my body on the corner tomorrow, right? I don't know how much money I'd make, really, but I would learn some lessons. I would discover some things through very, very, very difficult situations. And my question to you is, do you actually want to learn those lessons? What is the value of the material that you're learning? And does it make the world a slightly more horrible place that everything has to be learned through suffering? And Buddhism doesn't try and do anything about suffering. It just gives you better techniques to alleviate that suffering, how to handle it better. Which is, again, not what we're looking for. You see, but this sin, this karma, this suffering, all of it fits really, really well into what demonkind needs, because each part of suffering, each time you pay a karmic debt, each time you get stuck in sin, guess what? The demons get paid. They collect. I'm not going to say that all religions were set up just to serve demonkind. I think that they've been co-opted and corrupted at different points in time, though, you know, there's plenty of room for debate if it ever happened and when it happened and how it happened, and I'm not going to engage in that. But you know that in the Hindu version where you're trying to pay off your karma, you're working hard all the time. You're working to pay off that debt. And the beneficiary is the government who set up the debt in the first place. Their economy is thriving on people who got stuck in their country, or people who got incarnated on Earth and can't leave. What's even worse is that once the debt becomes so large that they can never pay it back, then something interesting happens. You see, once you've created so much karma and so much negativity around you that you cannot actually ever pay the debt, this is when demonkind actually claims your soul. And the suffering and the karma and the misery and the sin all surround the soul in a little capsule, and all of the energy that emanates in and out of that soul is filtered through all of that nasty and all of that negativity. And the soul produces a lot of negative energy, and that energy is collected by this capsule and sent up to a demonic lord. And all of the demonic lords that we've fought all have a bank of captured souls. So souls that have been driven by their passions or their misery or their hatred or whatever it might be, all end up caught up in these horrible, horrible situations, being a battery for a demon lord for all eternity until a crew like ours shows up and rescues them. But you see, galactic law means they have to give you an out. They have to give you a way out of the trap. And that exit is called ascension. You can have enlightenment, you can have ascension. Those terms are so poorly defined, it baffles me. And I don't even know what they mean when people talk about them, which is a rather frustrating feature of religious study. But you see, they gave us some roads, how to get out of here, some ascension roads, but I actually think they're cul-de-sacs. I don't think you can actually exit using them. And I use this simple fact as a demonstration. Right? There are 1 billion Christians, there are 1 billion Hindus, there are 1 billion Buddhists. And where are the enlightened? Where are the mystics, the miracle makers? Where is the miracle factory from? If these guys have ascended in knowledge of spirituality, shouldn't they have magical powers? And you know, maybe they are, but they're not telling us. But that also doesn't make sense, because nothing draws people into a religion like heroes. Where are the religious heroes? Where are the people who've studied their whole lifetime and embodied magical power? And I don't see them coming out of Christianity. I don't see very many coming out of Hinduism, and I don't see very many coming out of Buddhism. This is not something to be kept secret, but it seems that they do, or that the training doesn't really cover miracle creation, in which case, if it doesn't cover miracle creation, if it doesn't go through the stages of ascension where you are enlightened and then understand reality better than everybody else and how to manipulate it to a high degree, if those things aren't happening, then those religions are not showing you the exit. They are cul-de-sacs. They're not taking us out of this matrix, out of this trap. But that's how it is. That's the world we live in. There are no religious heroes. They're very, very few and far between. The only people making miracles on a consistent basis, to my knowledge, are the medical intuitives, the people who go through the New Age mystic trainings and figure out how to meditate illnesses out of people's bodies. And it's not even as hard as you think. Not really. It's actually just putting prayer and meditation time in the correct manner, learning the correct meditations. But, you know, we're not seeing that. The New Age movement is more about borrowing from great religions without actually following them. And what it tells us is that a lot of the skills in there are great, but they don't teach them to everyone. They keep them secret. And so I'm very, very confused, because if they're not showing us how to break out of the matrix, if they're not showing us the exit, then aren't they de facto serving the dark side? And that's going to hurt some people's feelings. Sorry to say it, but I think I've demonstrated the logic quite clearly and asked a handful of very, very difficult questions. I'll also further confirm that I've never seen the war between angels and demons. The angels are not actually fighting it. It's just a myth. It's a story that's got nothing to do. It's not happening. It's a non-event. And I know because our teams are out there fighting it. We're the ones doing it. We haven't seen any angels since we started. They're not performing according to the PR that we're given about them. So brace yourself, because these are questions that should have been asked and answered a long, 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 long time ago. And just want you to be reassured that our team has figured out large components of the trap. We understand how the trap was put together, and some of how it functions. And I'm sure that given enough time, we'll unravel it completely. And all we really ask for is your support, and not in a financial manner, just prayers. I don't want you to pray to Katumi or Buddha or Jesus or anyone like that. Just say it into the wind. Just talk to the wind and say, please let Alabar's team succeed in their goals, because that kind of support actually means something to us. And if you understand magical mechanics, there's no reason to transit it through this or that deity. There's none at all. Now, I would love to hear your comments, so please write them down below this video. This video actually has something to say to everybody, so please share it. And I want this debate to be sparked, because we are not being served by the religions that we serve, even though the point of religion is to be of service. And maybe they are being of service, maybe not to us. What a big thing to say. Anyway, by all means, get in the comments, and I want to hear what you got to say about it. Like and share the video, and love to you all. May the force be with you. Bye for now.